QAnon has this, in my personal experience and what I've seen in my community, this kind of captivating, almost seductive, sensational thing going on in the way it captures people's attention. And I'm wondering, like, what can we learn about good distributed collective intelligence from QAnon? And then what should we be most cautious of when looking at that and learning from that?
That's a really good question. Thank you. It's also, by the way, a bold question because, as you know, even I think using the letter Q these days tends to get you thrown in jail. So let's see. Let's think about that. So first off, let's recognize that I think that the answer to the first part is a lot. I think it's naive beyond comprehension to not recognize that that was a very powerful, valuable experience from which we can learn a lot. So what are some of the things that showed up? If you think about it, and I was watching it very closely for a long time. So some of the things that showed up, I would say, are like cardinal virtues, deep stuff that frankly has been part of any culture that's worth a shit for a long time. Phrases like, where we go one, we go all. Notions like own your mistakes. Notions like take responsibility for actually digging. Take personal responsibility for perceiving reality. Think bigger. Don't be trapped in existing ideological frameworks of what is and what is not. Be aware of the fact that disinformation is everywhere. So don't stick to any particular point of view and assume that that is authoritative. Hope, community, connecting with each other, helping each other. Now this, like, in some sense, it isn't that complicated. Just to take a look at the mythopoetic archetypes of what virtue and heroism and wholesomeness have always looked like, and do that. And to the degree to which the Q community found that and upregulated that, that is the strong positive virtues that are in fact in that community. All right, now let's go to the opposite direction. And it's weird because it seems to hold both simultaneously, which is kind of an interesting thing. Well, there's a certain mania, right? There's a certain manic, psychotic sensibility. We live in a psychotic age. And we live in a psychotic age because we all have the capacity to interact with far more information about reality than A, our minds can handle, and far less information about reality than B, actually tells us much about reality. So we're in an environment we can tell really awesome stories. We can weave together narratives that sort of hold the information that we've been able to gather and hold into something like a coherent story. And then we try to fact check that by actually doing more information. This is where I think where the Q phenomenon has one of its biggest gaps, is that it's so bound to the virtual. And it's so capable of researching things at the virtual, but then it tries to draw conjectures on the basis of inference and hypothesis and models of nature and models about what the underlying axiomatic structures of reality are. And so if you think that, I don't know, let's go with something. If you think that there's an organization called Rizvi Taverse, which is tied to the Saudi royal family, and they have certain capacities and agendas, then you can use that assumption complex about which you have no reality to explain a very large number of phenomena. Now you're going to get a whole bunch of anomalous phenomena around that, but you're going to pretend to ignore the anomalous phenomena and be really happy about the thing that's inside your explanatory framework, which is to say, the Q phenomenon gives us bas relief on the weakness of the paradigmatic mind. Full stop. It tends to be psychotic and manic and to be biased towards its own self-referentiality. And of course, we also have seen a tendency, a strong tendency, although not necessarily a overwhelming tendency, to engage in the exact opposite of responsibility, to externalize, to hope that someone else is in charge and will in fact take care of us. And I believe that is also, unfortunately, at the end of the day, false. Which is to say only this: to the degree which there are people who are in positions of power, authority, and responsibility who have our best interest in mind, great, awesome. If we take responsibility for ourselves with complete integrity, then their interest and our interest would be completely aligned. So we don't need to worry about whether they're there or not. But to the degree to which we alienate ourselves from our own agency and just sort of step back and really hope they're doing a good job and become cheerleaders or fans in a sporting event, and they're the team on the field and we're the guys with the butts in the seats, we've done exactly the wrong thing.